Good morning, everyone. This is Vigor Warriors 2. Hope you guys are having a great morning. Back with another episode of our morning talk here. Hope you guys are keeping on your plan. This is a beautiful morning this morning, March 17th, 2022. And it's going to be a great day. And feeling stronger every day. And I want to thank everybody for the subscriptions, comments, likes, donations, all these great things. It is great to be able to serve you guys and try to help you guys with information that from my experiences and things as we go along. Please go ahead and comment, like, subscribe, those type of things, just to kind of keep us moving along. So a couple good comments. Thank you. A shout out to both Dex and Babba. Again, they're making some wonderful comments, and I'm going to focus on a question that Dex had, and also a comment on what Babba said last night as well. So Dex's question really kind of focuses on benefits after 100 days. And I know we see this a lot, and I've heard this as well from people who say, okay, well, after a week, everything kind of stabilizes. So if you're on retention for about a week, then you should get off of it and release and be able to kind of move on that way. But the thing is that you have to kind of remember that this is your energy. And so, having a week here and there benefits, you have to really kind of buy into this to really understand what's really going on and the whole idea behind it. And so having a week here and there, going back and forth, I did that for 45 years, and it just did not work. And I finally realized that's not what is needed here. What is needed is a complete lifestyle change. So you're either going to buy in or you're not, and you can do a little bit here and there, and you probably get a little bit of benefit at times. But just like with the Fountain of Youth exercises or anything like that, unless you really buy into it and believe in it, it's not going to work as well for you. And I think certainly this whole idea that, you can go 90 days and then, get off of it for a while and go back and different things like that, those type of things leads to a lot more of the temptation, a lot more of losing control, things like that. Now, I'm not saying that, it may work out that way anyway for you because of just trying to maintain discipline and change a lot of behaviors that you've had in the past. That's what happened to me. I did try sincerely at times, but back in my mind, I think I believed that, well, I don't know if I really believe in all this stuff. And so that's why I kept going back and forth a lot. And now as I reflect back on all those years, I think that's what happened more times than not. I always had in the back of my mind that I was afraid that I'm going to get sick if I do this and I don't, lose energy, and all these so-called experts who say they know everything, those type of things. So, I believe in all that, but I've come to realize that we're living in this blue matrix, that most things people are telling us in the media and all these things that these people tell us, most of them may not be true. And it may really be something that was put together by big tech and things like that. And I think, for instance, the health industry. I think that you're healthier than you think you are. And I think you have all the types of things within you need to. Now, that's a terrible statement for me to say for a lot of people, because they believe, well, they need their medicine, they need these type of things. Well, I don't know. It's a good question to ponder, because I think with retention, you're healthier. I have not been sick in many, many years, and certainly not through these times we have now. And I just feel like that I'm getting stronger and stronger with the journey I'm on. So I don't know. I'm coming to more and more believe that we don't need a lot of things like that. We need more of a natural type of evolution of ourselves, and look within ourselves to try to be healthier and do all those things we need to do to kind of survive. So a good question from Babba. So Babba, the idea to me is that, and I'm on 651 days, I believe it is today, I think that the thought is that, to me, the benefits are always going to be with you. Now, would you notice them as much in day 651? No, but you do catch glimpses at times. I mean, certainly I feel strong. I've always felt strong over this whole pattern. And, I have attraction, people attracted to me. I can see that. Not that it matters all that much to me, but it's something I see. I see a greater focus. I see a great benefits. I believe these last forever. I think these are benefits that you have as a normal type of thing. Now, I think what does happen is people tend to normalize it. And I think some people don't want to accept it. They're really down deep. They want to go back to the old habit. And so I think subconsciously they may tell themselves, well, it'll last for a week, or it only lasts for 90 days and that's it. But I think it's kind of like that whole thing with the placebo. I mean, they believe it. I feel that it doesn't make a lot of sense for a human being to go around releasing their energy all the time. It just doesn't, from a logical standpoint to me, make any sense of why that's important, right? Why it hasn't been important all these years, and all of a sudden now it's important now to do this over the last 50, 60 years. This is a propaganda thing from the health industry, media, to be able to get you into all kinds of situations where you need more, help with this type of thing, and this type of thing is more important. Well, it really isn't. I mean, your purpose is really to procreate, and that's about it. You don't need to do these other types of things. And I think this is the idea that people have pushed over this last, since I've been born, 60 years, but certainly a lot longer than that, and talking about how important it is to get into all these lascivious behaviors. I mean, we've seen it in dynasties over the history of mankind. You look at the Roman Empire, you look at the Persians, and they all kind of destroyed themselves in the long run because they couldn't control themselves. And they kind of lusted and those type of things, and those things all became a problem. And so you see this nowadays, and we see it in our society, lusting after types of behaviors and things like that. So, Babba, I think that there's great benefits after 100 days. I just think people talk about that because I think once they hit 90 days, I think they become more conditioned to it. And so I think that they feel like, well, this is all I'm going to get out of this thing. And so, to my mind, that moves you back into the needle back in the other way, and on that scale, and you're going back in the other direction, and eventually you're going to release again. So I think that that's just not a good strategy to use. And I think that once you're on this lifestyle change, you don't even notice the days anymore. I think 90 is probably a kind of a month and a half. People kind of go with that and say, okay, well, that's great. But I think, benefits go a lot longer. So I've seen great benefits, my friend, in almost a year and a half. So, more than a year and a half. So we're closing in on 2 years. So I feel that this is what is important in changing your lifestyle and seeing life in a whole different way. So anyway, Bob, I hope that helps answer your question. Dek, you had a good, interesting point. I think he was talking about the fact that, and he appreciated the video, and a shout out to you, Dex, as well. I appreciate that. And he talked about the fact that you have people who, and I'm guessing this is in India. I didn't finish reading the whole text that carefully, but I'm assuming that's where it's at. And they're kind of, in some ways, damaging their organs and things like that. Now, I probably believe in going that far, because I guess I'd have to read more into what they're doing with that. But again, the philosophy idea I understand, because what you really have to do is be able to kind of control that behavior. This is why this is not easy, because there is a great feeling in that sense right before you're releasing. It's building up and you're releasing, and this provides a temporary liking for people. They call it pleasure. What do you want to call it? Okay, they have a liking for the situation. They like that going on. Anytime you see high adrenaline and you release, the people like that. So in a sense, that's something that people really look to do. So they do it, whether they do it by themselves or they do it with other people, they're doing it. Now, the issue then is what you're talking about is the fact that doing all that, in my mind, you're losing a lot of your energy and you're making yourself weaker all the time. Now, if you're doing it for the purpose, once again, of procreation and having children, that's different. You're trying to create something with that, and there's a purpose for that. But just to do it makes no sense whatsoever. Now, people will tell you, well, it makes you healthier, but I don't believe that any longer. I believe it's the opposite. And I think this is why a lot of people struggle with this concept, because they're told like that. And we talked about that a few minutes ago. They're told that this is unhealthy to hold your energy inside. But going back to what Dex was saying, I think that you get people who go to the extreme, and in some cases they have to. If you're talking about monk mode, which is what I am right now, you're basically talking about, in a psychological sense, you're kind of destroying your organ. But realizing that your energy is always going to be there, and you will sense it at times. You will feel it, whether it's a person walking by, especially in the springtime, where people are, you're seeing more of who the person is and those type of things. And a lot of times they're walking around with less clothes on, and you see figures more and all that kind of stuff. And so you might get more excited. But the key is that what you do after you see that. And I think anybody, in my case, after 45 years of this, you're not going to just kind of eliminate it right away. So for me, it had to be kind of a step-by-step process. You guys are younger. You might be able to do this easier than me, at this point. But I think I've had to go to monk mode just to kind of get it to the point where it's just not something that I even think about. And so I'm doing a better job with that. I mean, there's times it still comes through, and there's times that I have to still control it. But certainly I'm not, anywhere close to what I was on day 1 or day 40 or 50, where I was still kind of struggling. And I just finally said, that's it, I'm going to monk mode. So you can see that I'm a 651 days and 176 monk mode. So it took me a while on no fap to actually get to monk mode. 300 days, right? Something like that, 300-400 days. So it took a while, because I didn't realize that I had to go that way. And I was doing stuff like, edging, all this kind of stuff that you would see, because those thoughts would come. But you have to kind of get to the point of saying, okay, I need to control this. If I'm going to have children, then I need to be able to do that. But I also need to be able to say, no, I have other things I'm using for this energy. And this is what is important. So you will become very strong. You will be able to kind of deal with those type of issues, because your focus has changed. And your focus now is focusing on using your energy to produce good things in this world. And obviously children is one of those, but if you're not having children, well, then you're producing other types of things, that's going to help benefit the world around you. And I think that's a whole different way to look at things and a whole different philosophy. So Dex, I think that it's a very interesting type of thing that you mentioned, and I can understand why people do that. You just like this whole same principle of getting an animal, castrated or fixed or whatever it might be. You try to destroy their organs. Now, interesting enough, in the animal world, I've seen this with cats, that even though they get fixed, I've seen this with 2 cats that I've had, they still have those urges. It's just amazing to me how strong these urges are, even in little animals like cats and dogs, where they're still acting like, they're in heat and things like that, even though they're basically those things have been removed from them. So it's almost like it's a very interesting mental process that people go through. And I think certainly, so destroying your organs may not work in some cases, depending on how kind of person you are with it. I understand the concept. I guess because it's God's body and you're the temple for God's body, I wouldn't go ahead and go that far of actually going ahead and destroying any kind of organ. but I also understand the concept of trying to kind of stop as much as possible the whole idea of these sexual thoughts and things like that, because that's going to end up hurting you in the long run. So anyway, thank you, Dex, for a great question, and Babba, shout out to both you guys for good topics and questions, and I'm starting to kind of catch up with topics and ideas and comments you guys make, but please continue doing those. I always like to continue these discussions and trying to help kind of, get some of these ideas through to understand, how we can kind of think about things. And once again, I'm not nearly, right about most of these things. I'm just basically kind of sharing my experiences. I'm still learning a lot about these things as well, and as I go through, 651 days, I'm still learning a lot. But I want to share it to you because I believe this is such an important topic, and certainly as you guys talk about things, you can kind of send me ideas and send me your opinions on what you think, and I'm happy to respond back to them. And if you disagree, that's great as well. I mean, I don't have any problem with that whatsoever. Like I said, we're all learning, but I've made this choice because I believe this is the right choice, and at least in my life, and it has been over the last 2 years. This is the strongest and the best feeling I've had since I was a kid. So it's wonderful. So, all right, my friends, March 17th, 2022. Hope you have a wonderful, glorious day. Continue to battle the evil one and battle on. God bless you guys, and have a great day. Take care.